got myself a whole chicken from Aldi and using one simple, easy to follow method, turned it into something incredible. If you're new to barbecuing, this is the absolute best place to start. Cooking whole chickens is easy, inexpensive, and the results can be mouth-watering. This Aldi extra large whole chicken weighs just over 2.1 kilograms and cost me £5.49. In this video I'm going to show you how to cook it perfectly so that every part of the chicken is cooked evenly. And crucially, the breast meat is not overcooked and dry. Now to achieve this, we are going to spatchcock the chicken. This involves locating its spine and cutting down each side of it with a pair of normal kitchen scissors. Now if you haven't got massive gorilla hands like me, you might find this a little bit tricky, but just stick at it, you'll get through. Just flip the bird over, spread the legs out, press down on the chest and listen for that satisfying crack. Next we just want to take the tips off the wings. You can't eat these and they'll just burn. And then we're on to a slightly tricky bit, but it's going to make carving later so much easier. We're going to remove the wishbone. By scoring along it with your knife, chopping it at the top and then chopping it at the bottom, you can just pull it out. It's a little bit tricky to do, and if you make a bit of a mess of it, don't worry, it's not really going to affect the final product. Now, you will have noticed that at no point in this process have I shoved a can of beer up my chicken. Please don't do this to your poor chicken. It's been through enough already without you abusing it like that. Now, one of the key things we're looking for in a barbecued chicken is nice crispy skin. To achieve that, we're going to dry it off with a paper towel and then apply some oil to it. In this case, I'm using olive oil, but really any sort of oil will do. Massage that in. It may seem like you're adding moisture back into the skin, but really they'll just help it crisp up. Then it's time to apply some seasoning. Now, I'm just using my homemade barbecue rub, but you can use absolutely anything you like. It's at this stage that you can get really creative and make sure that your chicken fits in with whatever meal you're serving. Whether that's Indian-inspired flavours, jerk chicken, or maybe just salt and pepper if you're going for a traditional sort of roast dinner. It is your chicken, you flavour it how you like. I don't bother seasoning underneath the chicken, I just make sure I've got all the skin covered. And then it's time to put it on the barbecue. Set your barbecue up for an indirect cook, so that's not directly over the coals, and make sure you've got it running at 180 degrees Celsius. I'm cooking this on my Kamado today, which I actually got from Aldi coincidentally. But as always, any barbecue will do, just as long as you're sitting at a roughly 180 degrees. Don't worry too much if it's a little higher or lower than this or it swings a little bit. The key is we're cooking to an internal temperature. In this case, we're going for an internal temperature of 70 degrees Celsius. Now the chicken will need to be at 75 degrees Celsius to be safe to eat, but you need to remember that that internal temperature will rise while it rests. So I always like to get a second opinion on the temperature from a handheld probe, and once that confirms the internal temperature is 70 degrees, I can pull the chicken off. Now, I'm really pleased with the way the skin has turned out on this bird. It's nice and crispy and full of flavour, but don't dig in just yet. It's crucial that this is allowed to rest for at least 20 minutes. And it's over this 20 minutes that that internal temperature is going to rise 5 degrees up to 75. This will ensure it's safe to eat and not dried out. Once the 20 minutes is up, it's time to carve. Now because of the prep we've done before, this step's super easy. I always start with the legs, they just slice right off. In fact, sometimes they come off when you pull the chicken off the barbecue, it's not a problem. And then I like to slice the thigh and the drumstick away from each other. You just find the gap between them, push the knife through. And with those put aside into a bowl, it's time for the wings to come off. Now the wing is made of a flat part and a sort of mini drumstick. And here you're just going in with a knife and separating that mini drumstick part from the bird. Simply repeat the process on the other side, and then you're left with essentially a chicken crown. Now because we've moved that wishbone earlier on, this is super easy to remove the breast from the main carcass. You just slice down the middle on one side of the little cartilage ridge that's in there, and then just slowly peel back the breast until it's completely detached. Again, flip it around and repeat the process on the other side. And don't worry too much if you've left some meat behind, we can just start scraping that off now. Using a combination of your knife and your hands, there's quite a lot of really good meat that you can get off this carcass. And once you've stripped it down, you can see there's very little of the carcass left. Using this method gives you almost no wastage. And now another crucial step in giving you delicious, tender, juicy breast meat is to cut it against the grain. The grain on a chicken breast runs lengthways, so by carving like this, you ensure every bite is beautifully tender. And continue this on the other breast and you'll be left with this beautiful pile of succulent, juicy chicken. These slices of meat are so tender, even my son, who is an incredibly picky eater, will just gobble these up. And the key to getting that right is the internal temperature. If you overcook them, they'll become dry and stringy. But if cooked to this method, it's one of the best bites of the whole chicken. And of course, as the chef, you get to try some first. Now adding those to the bowl along with the juices, because that's just pure flavour, we are left with a perfectly carved chicken that's ready to eat. You can do whatever you want with it from this point, but I'm going to make myself a chicken sandwich. I'm going to knock up a super simple sauce, which is just 3 parts mayonnaise and 1 part Franks RedHot Buffalo sauce. It's not too spicy, sticks to the bun well, and goes really well with chicken. Now it's time to build the sandwich. I'm going to take my brioche roll, also bought from Aldi, and I'm keeping this super simple. I'm not toasting it or anything. Just adding a layer of my sauce to give me a nice base. And then it's time to add the chicken. Now I'm going to start off with some of those breast pieces, as they'll make the best foundation for this massive tower of chicken that I'm planning on building. At this point I've also taken those thighs and drumsticks and just shredded them up, pulled them from the bone. So essentially what I've got here is a bowl of pulled chicken. Now you can get creative at this point, add whatever you want, but I'm just going to add chicken, and a lot more chicken. Stack it as high as you possibly can without it all falling over, and add more of that delicious sauce onto the top of the bun. Place it on top, give it a firm press down, and there you have it, one beautifully cooked, delicious chicken sandwich. But it'll work just as well for any meal you're preparing involving chicken. I cook and serve whole chickens like this all the time, it always goes down well. So remember, say no to beer can chicken. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please check out some of my other videos for some more easy barbecue tips. Thanks for watching.